That's Julian Taylor at the recent Robbie Robertson tribute concert, one that found the Canadian artist sharing the stage with the likes of Eric Clapton, Van Morrison, and Mavis Staples, while Martin Scorsese's cameras rolled. Julian is too young to have been at the original Last Waltz, but he does have an impressive body of work, one that includes his new record, Pathways. So we found Julian in his car in Toronto with his very affectionate dog, Cathy, and asked him how he got invited to that star-studded tribute show.
I mean, I can't even believe that I was there. I guess I should believe that I was there because I was. And it was a total honor, and what an experience. I mean, it was a whirlwind. California whirlwind is like I like to say.
Yep.
And I was literally on a plane when my friend Allison Russell and my other buddy, brother Logan Stats, were texting me saying, "Hey, you got to get to LA in 24 hours. We'd like you to be part of this celebration and sing Acadian Driftwood with us." And I said, "Oh, wow. Okay."
Yeah.
I'm on my way to Vancouver, and I was just starting a tour. So I was on my way to Vancouver to do a show, and then there was a rehearsal. It just so happened that the Robbie Robertson tribute landed on the day of the rehearsal. And so I could do one show, leave Vancouver, head to LA for that one day. Then I had to fly back to Vancouver to do a couple more shows and then head out across the west coast to Canada.
Yep.
Pretty crazy. I'm so grateful to my friend Allison, who just, is such a fighter for people, her friends and artists that deserve to be there. She got Logan there and she got me there. And, actually I owe her two of the biggest concert moments of my career. I performed at the Junos.
Oh, right.
I owe this year. I owe my buddy Ace Nobby as well. He vouched for us as well. So it was really a lovely thing to be able to take part in.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, when you walk past Eric Clapton in the hallway and you tell him that, "Hey man, have a great set," it just feels surreal.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Like, huh? Did I just say that to Eric Clapton? I did. And he said, "Thanks, man." Oh, cool.
Well, that's cool. So other than your performance, which I watched on YouTube because somebody shot it and put it up there already.
How was it? I didn't see it.
It's somebody shot from afar, but you get the idea. It sounds good. Yeah, because
Awesome.
I think you take like the second verse, don't you?
Yeah, so I take Danko's verses.
Right.
Yeah.
And what else any inside stories or scoops or interesting tidbits that you can tell us about the day before we proceed on with your record?
Sure. I mean, like watching Van Morrison soundcheck is also surreal.
Right.
He was great. I thought he was great. Nathaniel Rateliff was amazing. He sang "Don't Do It," like the old cover, the Marvin Gaye cover.
Right.
Got lovely pictures with Trey from Fish and Jim James. He sang "Makes No Difference." He was phenomenal as well. Mavis did the wait, and we all got on stage for "I Shall Be Released." It was really nice to get a hug from Bob Weir after that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Because we just lost Phil Lesh as well recently.
I know. What a shame.
It's not good. And what was did you have any kind of relationship with Robbie Robertson? Did you know him?
We talked a couple times. Yeah. I mean, I met him outside of the Horseshoe Tavern during Canadian Music Week, which was like, I guess maybe 15 years ago.
Right.
And sat outside and chatted with him for a bit. Got to interview him when I was doing my radio show for a station called Element FM a few years back. And certainly him being, part Mohawk and myself having that heritage in my blood as well. There's a kinship there. My mom's absolutely in love with Robbie Robertson and thought he was really super handsome. So there's that.
There is that.
Yeah. It's between Denzel Washington and Robbie Robertson for my mom, but she married my dad.
Well, there you go. Seems to have turned out well for you.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that.
All right.
Are those all vinyl records behind you?
Yes, they are.
Holy smokes.
And that's only
cool.
That's only half of them. I got another 14,000 singles in the other room. These are the 12 inches.
Wow.
I got carried away.
That's amazing, Marty. Holy smokes. Mine's nothing like that. But I I really pride myself on being a record collector, but holy smokes.
So what kind of collection do you have?
I guess I've got about, 800. I didn't,
That's all right.
like, it's okay. It's a start,
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
young
no,
chap.
that's how we all
And
get started.
I've got everything in there from, like, what was I listening to the other day? I was listening to Court and Spark.
Oh, nice.
That was on the turntable. Also, the latest Janelle Monáe was being listened to the other day.
Yeah.
For sure. I even had Twisted Sister on.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's all over the map,
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I just got the Joni Mitchell box set of the volume next archives volume thingy on vinyl with lots of Rolling Thunder review performances from her on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And I was
How'd it
lucky enough,
sound?
the Rolling Thunder came to Rochester, and I saw Joni with Bob and them in '75. So it was
No kidding.
that back in memory lane, but there you go. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now your album is called Pathways, and it
It
follows
is.
an anthology that you released the previous year. So I was just wondering if that process of kind of you've been making records for a while, you've anthologized yourself. Did that indicate that you were kind of setting things or starting a new something with this record?
Yeah, I definitely think I was starting to do something. I mean, I was working with my friend Colin Linden,
Uh-huh.
and he lives in Nashville. He came up for a little bit. We did some of it at a studio called Jukasa, which is on Six Nations of the Grand River, and then the rest of it was done at his place, which is called Pinhead Recorders in Nashville. He
Yep.
and I had been talking for, I guess, the better half of 15, almost 20 years about working together. When I was a kid, I got into the music industry, and he was one of the first cats that I met. And for some reason it just didn't happen, but he's a great producer. He worked with T-Bone Burnett. He's worked with, Keb Mo
Right.
and Bruce Coburn and stuff like that. And of course, Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. And so we got to talking one day. I guess I saw him somewhere. I don't know where it was, but yeah, we saw each other at a show or something like that. And we were chatting about it. And he was just telling me that he wanted to try something really different with me, like he really wanted to, concentrate on simplifying a lot of the things that I've done musically, melodically, lyrically, and just sort of find a nice pocket. And this record really is about pathways in so many ways. You can use it as a metaphor, whereas my previous records certainly dealt with, things in my life from a peripheral sort of perspective as a young child and as a teenager and whatnot. And this one sort of, dives into where I'm at,
Uh-huh.
and how I got here. I'm still sort of like in that realm in my head, like, what am I doing? How am I supposed to be doing it? And who am I supposed to be doing it with? And who am I doing this for? Kind of all sorts of like, questions that are a little esoterical, but like still, part of the conversations that we have with each other and ourselves. And so he said to me, "You got to simplify that, kid."
Right.
So
Well, just explaining it, you made a case for it yourself.
there you go. Yeah, I mean,
But
working
that's
on it
easier
every.
it's easy to say that, but once you get in the studio, how do you go about doing that? Was there a lot of discussion about, oh, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of this, or only add a little bit of this?
There was, and that was tricky for me, man, because like I've been, you know, either at the helm or in the seat next to I've been in the passenger seat or the helm making these records that I've put out and been really, focused and invested in it from a production standpoint myself. This is one of the only real times where I didn't have as much say as I mean, of course, it's my record. I have the end say anyway, but
Yeah.
it was a struggle at first for me to go, yeah, yeah, okay, we'll try it that way. Cause I had it in my head in a different way, but it came out, and it's sort of an amalgamation between the two of us, really.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
So
we had a good sway.
yeah, yeah. And I think it being a bit sparser sounding, when you do hear something like, for instance, on Love Letters, there's an accordion and a mandolin in there, and
Hmm.
it's not throughout the whole record, so it kind of pokes itself out, draws more attention to itself when you do
It
hear it.
does draw more attention to it. Yeah, it pulls you in a little bit quicker, and then it goes away, and then you're like, oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Can I have some more, please?
Yes, exactly. But you have to go back to that song to get it.
Maybe it's something about your eyes. Maybe it's something about your hair. Caution to the wind when love is in the air.
Yeah. And that song you co-wrote with Tyler Ellis, what can you elaborate on that a little bit, if you don't mind?
Yeah, Tyler's a really close friend of mine. We're basically neighbors. He doesn't live far, and we get together and write songs all the time. And lately we haven't, because I've been on tour a lot. But you know, there's been so many times where he just pops by my place, or I pop by his place. I used to run an open stage at a place called Dorquio Irish Pub, which is now called Noonan's, which is like on Danforth Avenue, which is one of the major streets in the city of Toronto, on the east side of town, which is where we are. And I used to run like an open stage there for like almost a decade.
Yep.
And Tyler and I met at open stages, and he used to come in because he lived close. And he's since inherited that open stage from me, you know, which is great. He took it over, and he's a brilliant songwriter in his own right. You should check him out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
he's really great. I've played guitar on his records and stuff like that too, you know.
Cool. And you also, it's followed by a song called Sixth Line Road, which features a little bit of harmonica, but it also features lyrics that could be construed as being somewhat political or even radical.
When you are a hero, you don't stay in your own backyard. You take up your arms and you try to change the God. That's why the war keeps raging on. That's why the war keeps raging on.
I had much more to say in terms of the amount of words I wrote in regards to that song.
Right.
He convinced me to be a little bit more ambiguous. But yeah, I mean, the song's about, you know, racialized behavior in you know, organized sports, first and foremost. I mean, there was a documentary on Herb Carnegie, who you may know of because you are from the States. But he wasn't really allowed to play hockey in the National Hockey League, and when he finally did, they didn't pay him as well. Same with George Armstrong. He was a First Nations hockey player. They didn't pay him as well as they paid the other people.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense.
And they were better than the other
Of course.
people.
Man, oh man. Yeah. So are things changing? Do you feel like there's progress being made?
Do you?
No, actually, I don't.
I don't either. No. I think we're going backwards, man. Holy smokes. But yeah, hopefully not. I mean, the world's such a interesting place right now where, I mean, everybody's probably commenting on it, but I don't know how politics took over and is like the most popular thing for people to discuss and talk about. I know how important it is, but there seems to be no room for anything else.
Right.
There was one time in history where I think rock music, you know, for example, like bonded everyone together. They all had some sort of commonality, and now it's like,
hey, do you hear the new Zeppelin album? That's enough. Yeah.
I know.
Oh man,
it's weird out there. It is weird out there. I don't think that the internet has helped much. I mean, there's that David Bowie clip. I don't know if you've seen that when he's talking about the internet.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, it's so interesting. He's spot on.
Really?
And this is before it took off.
Yep. So
it's like early stages. He's like, it's cool, but watch, it won't be that cool.
Right.
It's going to destroy a lot of things about humanity.
Right. And I think my guess, and I'm just speculating, is AI is a similar thing with similar possibilities. It's going to help some, but then it's going to be somewhat negative as well. It depends how.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was in the airport the other day, and the machine asked me if I wanted to tip it, and I was like, "What the What?
Yeah, that just does
What
not.
are you talking about? No, I don't.
We don't do tipping here in New Zealand, so
Yeah, I knew that, and same with in Great Britain and whatnot, but
yeah,
we still do it here.
they actually pay the people who work in the restaurants and stuff a living
I
wage.
know. Yeah. They don't do that here.
No, I know. Believe me.
I was a bus boy for a while and a bartender for a while, and so I know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I also wanted to touch on the final track, Into the Waves, which to me, the vocal was particularly intense, and I was just wondering what that was like for you to put that down in the studio.
And you walked into the waves. You walked into the waves. You walked into the waves. You walked into the waves.
Yeah, I mean that's an older tune that sort of came to fruition in a way, which is odd for me to say that, but it is about a suicide,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, I've experienced that in my life with close friends and whatnot, and I mean, my old band, our guitar player decided to check out, and that song was written around that time when he was still with us, and then all of a sudden it just came to fruition. And I thought, wow, man, I bet this is crazy. So yeah, it was intense.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it sounds like it hurts, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I didn't even know the backstory. Yeah, it's so.
yeah, for sure. But
And when you is it do you feel like it's a performance when you're in the studio laying down a track like that?
sure, I do my best to sort of find my way into these songs. I mean, they found me, so I got to find my way into them.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the album's been out for a couple of months now. What's the reaction been out and about? You've been doing shows and
Yeah, I mean it's been busy. I head over to the UK and Ireland in January. I've been doing a couple of runs on the States, mostly like the Eastern Seaboard and the West Coast.
right.
Did Italy this year, and that was really cool. Hope to get back there next year, maybe come to Australia, which means that I would easily probably pop over to New Zealand as well.
Just across the ditch, as we say.
Yeah, there you go. I would like to do that. That's cool. I'll remember that. Just across the ditches. I'd like to do that. And then, yeah, the response has been cool.
Yeah.
The reviews have been great.
Nice.
People have been really digging it, and Weighing Down, Ain't Life Strange certainly stand out for a lot of people, but it all seems to be doing okay. You put it out there and you hope that it connects with people, but it's really about trying to locate your own source and heal. And with that, maybe you might be able to do that and help somebody else who's feeling the same.
Right. Do people come up to you after shows and want to talk to you and unload and kind of, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm not a therapist though, but yeah.
Well, I've heard, yeah. So there is a danger there, isn't there?
Yeah,
People
exactly.
think you're all powerful. You've written the song, so you must know everything.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Far from perfect, far from anything at the moment. Just on my way to finding where I need to be every day.
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.